Bradford City Football Club is a mess. From top to bottom, a complete mess. Despite some very minimal success last season reaching the playoffs, it's been year after year of constant decline since 2016, since Stefan Rupp took over, and it's just not getting any better. You know, we've been in this league for, what is this, our fifth season now in League Two? Fourth, fifth season, something like that. It's just not good enough. It's not Bradford City. It's not who we are, and we're now looking for yet another manager under this current ownership, and we're not even just looking for another manager. In fact, we've got rid of a caretaker manager and put a different caretaker manager who's previously been sacked by the football club as manager. I mean, that is the most Bradford City thing I've ever heard, and I have no idea what this video is. I just need to give my thoughts and opinions on the club statement that came out last night. It was just before the EFL Trophy match against Man City. Brilliant 3-0 win for us. Great for Tyler Smith. I did my match review for that game, so make sure to go check that out if you haven't already. But Bradford City is not in a good place, a really, really poor place at this moment in time. And yesterday, club statement was released, finally providing us with an update about the Bradford City managerial vacancy, but it doesn't seem like it was one that was ever planned. You know, I think if this is a week ago, a statement coming from the football club was never even something which was considered, but the fans have basically had to beg for some sort of update and statement. I mean, and the statement that's come out is, I mean, it's pathetic really, isn't it? It doesn't tell us much. It tells us things that, I guess, credit them for finally bringing out a statement, but the statement in itself is it just feels very forced. It feels a very pointless statement. They might as well just said, oh, well, we're currently looking for a manager, basically. But, I mean, we sacked Mike Hughes, I think 4 weeks ago to the day, and we've still not appointed a new manager. I'm all for taking your time and trying to get the right manager in, but I don't even know what the right word is. We're just wasting time here, because this should have been something that was done ages ago now. And like I say, I'm all for waiting to get the right man in, but we're taking the piss with it. We're absolutely taking the piss. There's no need for it to go on this long. And each game that goes by, yes, we did pretty well under Kevin McDonald, but we lost to MK Dons, who hadn't won in 9 matches, and then we lost to bottom of the league, Sutton United. As soon as, even the first result against MK Dons, but then the second one against Sutton, as soon as that happened, there should have been a change there. It should have already been ready. I mean, there should have been a plan in place before Hughes was even sacked. What is the point in sacking a manager without having a plan in place? Do we know what type of manager do we want? Are we going for a young coach who wants to develop these young players that we've signed on long-term contracts? Are we going to get that out the window now? Do we want to be a possession-based team? Do we just want to be a team that wins football matches? Like, there's no clear plan or strategy. You know, you look at the last couple of managers that we have, they're all slightly different styles and systems, whereas we were told that we're now recruiting for a model and we're going to get a manager who fits around that model, but it certainly doesn't seem that way with some of the names that we've been linked to. I mean, we'll take it back to the 3rd of October 2023. Bradford City lost 2-1 away at Tranmere Rovers, a team who've struggled so far this season, and they were beaten. Yes, there were some poor mistakes in there. I mean, we even saved a penalty in that one. And the day after, Mike Hughes was sacked as Bradford City manager. Kevin McDonald was appointed as a caretaker player manager and started out very well. Brilliant 1-0 home win against Swindon Town. A brilliant 2-1 away win against Grimsby Town in the Football League Trophy. Then a 1-0 win away at AFC Wimbledon. Then a brilliant performance at home to Wrexham, picking up a point in that one, scoring quite late on. An atmosphere at Valley Parade was absolutely fantastic. And we felt connected with the team again. We felt like we had our Bradford City back. And just a couple of days later, we were absolutely battered by a team who hadn't won in 9 games in MK Dons. And as soon as that full-time whistle went, there should have been club statement. We're delighted to announce X, Y, or Z as our new first-team manager. What did we do? We allowed Kevin McDonald the opportunity to bounce back. Fair enough, I can understand that. He's obviously got a lot of credit in the bank, and I do not blame Kevin McDonald for anything that has happened so far this season or will happen going forward. All I can do is thank him for his effort as Bradford City caretaker manager, but then we lost to bottom of the league, Sutton United, and again, at full-time, that's when there should have been a statement. We're delighted to announce X, Y, or Z as our new first team manager. It didn't happen because was there ever a man in place? What was the plan? What was the strategy? Yes, McDonald had last night comfortably beat Man City's under-21s, but they've won one game all season and didn't particularly cause us too much threat considering it was our B team who played at that match. And then it was announced just before kickoff that McDonald had basically had enough. You know, judging by his post-match interview, it sounds like he has told Ryan Sparks that he doesn't want to do it anymore. And he wants the club to hurry up and speed up with a decision because McDonald wants to carry on playing. And you can completely understand that after the things that he's had to go through in his career to get back playing. why would he then just want to forget about all that hard work that he's done just for the sake of Bradford City, making it a little bit easier for the football club? We've got Wickham on Saturday in the first round of the FA Cup, and I mean, do you want to go to that game? With Mike Truman in charge, with his managerial record, yes, he did very well for us in the COVID season when he was joint manager with Connor Sellers, and I've got to be forever grateful for that. You know, he stayed away the football club from relegation to the National League, which would have been an absolute catastrophic event. But since then, he's had a number of gigs as a caretaker manager, and he's massively failed. I don't think he's won a match. In fact, he's even picked up a point as a caretaker manager. You know, you remember it when Derek Adams was sacked, and that game was it against Oldham and Harrogate. Them two games, goodness me, they were absolutely awful. Wickham are a decent side, but Mark Truman, for me, he's just not fit to do that managerial role, in my opinion. And we'll have a quick read here of the club statement. But before I do that, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Get your thoughts in as well down in the comment section down below. I'm really interested to know your thoughts on the football club at this moment in time. I'm actually going to read some of the Bradford City's fans' opinions to this club statement, which came out yesterday at 5:58 PM. Bradford City tweeted saying an update on the ongoing recruitment of a new men's first team manager, #BCAFC. The article does then read, club update men's first team manager. Bradford City AFC has moved to update supporters on the ongoing recruitment of a new men's first team manager. I mean, this should have been something that happened no more than 2 weeks after Mike Hughes was sacked, when it was clear that we weren't going to appoint a manager straight away. And looking back on it now, you know, hindsight is a wonderful thing. Were we thinking about, you know, a club statement and a club update when we were winning all in games? Probably not, so I can understand why they didn't do it. But then, especially after the MK Dons game and then the Sutton United game as well, why was there not a statement made there? Why did it have to wait for the fans to be saying, look at Gillingham, look at Grimsby, look at Colchester, all their clubs are providing updates. Why are Bradford City not providing one? The article does go on to read saying Mike Truman will take caretaker charge of the Bantams for this Saturday's Emirates FA Cup visit of Wickham Wanderers, with Kevin McDonald returning to full-time playing duties after his final game as caretaker player manager against Man City's under-21s in the AFL Trophy. City's Chief Executive Officer Ryan Sparks said, our search for a new manager is ongoing and we are currently staging final interviews with candidates. I don't understand how we could have sacked a manager 4 weeks ago and still only be on the final interview stage. It doesn't really make sense to me. It sounds like that we were hoping McDonald was just going to carry on winning football matches and we didn't want to start the recruit for a new manager straight away. I'm not really too sure, but he goes on to say this is a very important appointment. I can definitely agree with that. And as with any decision of this magnitude, a great deal of due diligence has been undertaken. That is a quote which, again, he's been, I don't know if mocked is the right word, but you know, like with the we don't accept mediocrity and the leaner and meaner, it's been one of them quotes that has been thrown around quite a little bit on the hashtag at this moment in time. He says, I would like to thank Kevin McDonald for stepping up and leading the side over the past 6 matches. Like I say, I've got nothing but respect for Kevin McDonald and a big thanks to him for his work over the last couple of weeks. Kevin has conducted himself admirably throughout, both on and off the field, securing some important results for the football club. We had a conversation over the weekend and agreed that the following EFL Trophy game against Manchester City's under-21s would come the right time for Kevin to step back into the dressing room as a player. Mike Truman is no stranger to this role. That's because he's been in this role a number of times already and has our full backing and confidence heading into this weekend's FA Cup first round visit of Wickham. The next update we provide will be the unveiling of our new men's first team manager. Now, what does that statement actually tell you? What do you think it tells you? Because to me, it doesn't really say a lot. You know, I'm not expecting them to come out and say, right, we've interviewed this manager, and this manager. We don't really like him. I'm not expecting that, but it's just a lot of filler words, really, and filler content. Like the amount of times it just says, oh, we've got an EFL Trophy game against Man City's under-21s. What's the point? Why does everything like that need to be in such detail? And like I say, it just feels like a very forced statement because the amount of fans that were asking for one on social media, and I'm not really too sure what the point in this is. They might as well have just kept quiet and waited until the next manager was announced. Now, there was something that got leaked the day before that apparently the new manager had already been confirmed and everything had been signed and the media had been done, and this is all rumours and speculation. You know, this is not me claiming to be insider. I have absolutely no knowledge of what goes on at Bradford City, but someone seemed to know who the manager was and everyone put 2 and 2 together, and apparently it was Adi Boothroyd. I have no idea how true that is, but obviously he'd done some managerial recently in India, and he'd been with England's youth setup. I think his last EFL gig was with Northampton when we actually beat them 3-0 in the League Two playoff final back in 2013. But obviously when Bradford City put out their statement, Simon Parker issued an article as well. Someone replied to that saying that sounds to me like they were ready to announce it today, hence why Kev was asked to step down after tonight, and then it fell through. And Simon Parker has replied saying that sounds very plausible, and Simon Parker is usually pretty reliable with this sort of stuff. So maybe it was meant to be Adi Boothroyd and either Bradford City pulled the plug, Adi Boothroyd pulled the plug. I'm not really too sure, but it seems crazy that you can have a manager ready to be announced and then it's just fallen through. Now, obviously, we'll never know what that reason is to be. There were strong rumours recently of Dean Holden, but then apparently he's going to Bristol Rovers. Apparently that's now off though, and they want Gary Monk. So there's a lot of, rumours and speculation. And like I say, when you don't actually know what's going on, it is kind of hard to comment on. But you look at the fans' reaction to these statement that has been put out by the football club. I mean, I'll just read you some here. Someone here says, surely Ryan Sparks has got to go now. He sat on his ass for 4 weeks thinking Kevin was going to take the job. Kevin told him no. Now he's panicking trying to find a new manager. CEO out of his depth. I've retweeted all these tweets as well. I'll probably put the pictures on screen. Someone else here says, laughable how out of his depth Sparks is. One calamity to the next with him in charge. Need some proper football people running the club, not this. And then it's just an insult really. But yeah, anyway, someone else says, loose translation, Kev got proper fucked off. We've been hung out to dry by the club. Another person here says, I cannot believe this statement. It's been a month and we're still doing interviews. The ideal candidate was in the TNA the day after Hughes left, saying it was a wonderful opportunity. I think that was Danny Cowley. Now it's taken that long, we've had to replace the caretaker. And the final one that we'll read for now is forced into an update because other clubs like Gillingham and Grimsby proactively update their fans 4 weeks to say we've got nowhere and replace the caretaker Shambles FC. And the final one actually that we'll read here is, this better be a delaying tactic due to an upcoming takeover. That is something that I do actually want to briefly touch on. There were some rumours on some sort of Bantams forum about the takeover. Me and Frank spoke about it in the recent 6 things that we learned, and again, I've no idea how accurate or true that might be, but a takeover would obviously be brilliant. I think it's what we need at this moment in time, but the takeover has got to be right. It's got to be spot on. And like I've mentioned before, I don't think Stefan Rupp is a bad person, but we've got an owner who literally does not care about us whatsoever. He doesn't put a penny in, he doesn't take a penny out. It's just pointless having him there. And you look at some of the other clubs around us, Gillingham, with all due respect, they should not be big spending the way that they are, but Bradford City can't spend as much because we have to just spend within our means. And I don't want us to ever break financial fair play, and I don't want an owner to go out and spend silly money, but we've got to be sustainable. But at the same time, I would just like a bit more investment, and that is why I think a change of ownership is needed. I think it's clear we need a director of football. Like we've mentioned before, Ryan Sparks is clearly very good in terms of the marketing and that side of things, but in terms of the footballing decisions, they're just not working for whatever reason. And like what I've mentioned before, Derek Adams and Mark Hughes on paper were 2 very good appointments, but why did they fail at Bradford City? Why did it go so wrong? Obviously, Adams was given a 3-year deal and sacked within about 8 months of that. So then we got to pay him off for a lot of that time. Mike Hughes then took over pretty much Derek Adams' tenure, or what was meant to be. He was given 2 and a little bit years. So that would have overtaken Derek Adams' contract. And then obviously he was sacked earlier on in this season. And like what I mentioned in that video about Mark Hughes, it was the right decision. Mark Hughes did need to move on, but why did we not already have an ideal replacement in mind? And why it seems like there wasn't really much of a plan in place. It seemed like the plan was to get rid of Hughes and then take it from there, whereas it was, the writing was on the wall for Mark Hughes. We should have been looking at least a week or 2 before that who could be his potential successor. Something else which I think I'd like to know is something that I've seen a little bit more and more on social media over the last few weeks, is the amount of people saying that they've been told things by Ryan Sparks, and it seems like they're just more fans of the football club, and apparently Sparks likes to leak things. Again, I have no idea if this is true or not. People could just be making things up, but I'm really bewildered as to why the CEO would want to do that. It seems like he likes to, or for at least from the outside looking in, try and get what the general fans' idea and thoughts is of something before confirming it. And that could be the reason why maybe if it was Boothroyd, it didn't officially then go through, because, the fans' reaction to it was not impressed to say the least. And there's a couple more tweets here. Someone says, smacks of Sparks leaking Boothroyd in what he thought was a genius bring him home idea, because I think he's from Eccleshill or somewhere like that. He saw the reaction, shat himself, and then pulled the plug basically. And you look at some other fans' thoughts on things, and someone here says, added to the all-round weirdness of a caretaker replaces caretaker announcement after 4 weeks, there is demonstrably, I don't know these words, no succession planning in place at Bradford City. Yet another criticism to point at the leadership, dismal stuff. Club looks more like a comedy sketch right now. Genuinely feel sorry for any new manager coming in. Absolutely clueless leadership above you. Club run by muppets. Honestly don't care who comes in. We're stuck in this league until Sparks walks and Rupp sells, starting to lose interest, as I'm sure many fans are. And I think, I wouldn't say I speak for all fans, but that certainly speaks for me as well, because I was someone who pretty much did every game over the last couple of years, and I've missed like nearly 10 games so far this season because I'm just not interested in Bradford City anymore. And there is the famous quote from Ryan Sparks saying this football club doesn't accept mediocrity, but someone else here says the club won't accept mediocrity apparently, but the statement is literally mediocrity, even lower than that, appointing 2 caretaker managers in the space of 4 weeks and giving out a statement because other clubs are absolute circus. And like I say, I don't think Rupp and Sparks are bad people. I do actually think they want the best for Bradford City, but it's clear that Stefan Rupp has no interest in the football club, and Ryan Sparks isn't getting the footballing decisions right. And I think the only real managerial appointment who'll maybe slightly get the fans back on side would be Danny Cowley. You look at some of the options at this moment in time, and there's a lot of really, really uninspiring ones. Apparently, Dean Holden was a done deal last week, according to Alan Nixon. He doesn't seem very reliable, though, and he wouldn't have exactly made me want to really go and attend Bradford City football matches, like what Mark Hughes did when he first came in. When it was announced that he was manager, I was like, yeah, I want to go and watch that. But if it was someone like a Dean Holden, I would not really have much interest in that. And it seemed, again, that was the general consensus between the fan base. And I know social media only speaks for a very small percentage, but that small percentage is growing, if you get what I mean, in terms of the fans who are not happy with the board at this moment in time. And you look at the amount of things that we've changed over the last couple of seasons, the board, the ownership, it's one of the very few things that hasn't changed, and we're just not progressing. And you look at where we are in the table at this moment in time. I mean, I don't have it up here, but we're in the bottom half, which is completely not good enough. I'll just have a quick Google here. The League 2 table, where we're like 16th. Yeah, we're currently 16th after 16 matches. We won 5 league games all season, no win in our last 3 league games. This is Bradford City we're talking about, the biggest club in the league, and we're massively underperforming. And you look at our leaner and meaner squad from this season, there's a real lack of quality in there at this moment in time, and there's very, very few players who would be bought by another League 2 club or higher, because there's so many players who are just not good enough. And it's like, how on earth have you managed to get not just a 2 but maybe a 3-year contract at the football club? And I think the recruitment is something that we have to criticise, because you look at other clubs like Mansfield, their recruitment is absolutely brilliant, or it has been for the last 12 months, and they're now reaping the rewards for it. And I know we've not got a budget like what Wrexham do, and we can't go out and sign some of the players that they're signing. In my opinion, I think they're doing it the wrong way. While they might have some success in the short term, they're signing a lot of old players who won't be able to sustain that as they do go up the leagues. But like I said at the start of the video, I don't really know what this video is. I don't really know what my aim for this video is. It's just a little bit of a rant at this moment in time, and I like what I've mentioned in the last couple of 6 things that we learn. I don't actually know. I don't know. I just want change at the football club. I want Stefan Rupp to sell to someone who's going to invest in the football club, but someone who's going to do it wisely. I want a director of football at Bradford City. I think that's the most important thing for me. If I could pick one change, we need a director of football, somebody who knows how to manage a football club, because Ryan Sparks is very good at bringing money into the club if Stefan Rupp isn't going to sell, but it's clear that his football decisions aren't right. And with some of the comments that he's coming out with, and then just contradicting himself, like the leaner and meaner squad, like the not accepting mediocrity, you just can't be coming out and saying stuff like that and then not backing it up. And like what I said, the fact that apparently we had a manager in place and then either we've pulled the plug or the manager's pulled the plug, for whatever reason that may be, and we've replaced a caretaker manager with another caretaker manager, it just screams of a shambles. We clearly don't have a plan in place, and I'm really, really frustrated with this football club at this moment in time, and I'm rapidly losing interest. I'm not going on Saturday once again, another game that I have no interest in going to. I mean, £15 to go and watch us with Mark Truman in charge, with his managerial record over since he was sacked as a full-time joint manager or whatever he was at the time, is poor. It's appalling, really, and I'm not confident going into that despite a great win yesterday on Tuesday night. But yeah, 4 weeks now since we sacked Mark Hughes, and it doesn't look like we've really progressed much in terms of getting the new manager in. The statement last night was laughable, and it's simply not good enough. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening to my rant. Make sure to like and subscribe. Get your thoughts in. That's the most important thing. Let me know down below. What do you think needs to change at Bradford City? Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you all later. Hopefully soon we have some sort of an update, whether it's manager, CEO, or ownership. Thank you for watching.